Hello, happy Friday, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. Jessica let me take over this live video today to talk about meal planning, and but I realize a lot of you guys may not know me. My name is Skylar, or I go by Sky sometimes, and I am a Beachbody coach. I've been a coach for I think since like April, so however long that's been. But I've been doing Beachbody programs for over a year now, and I fell in love with the programs. And after I had my son 9 months ago, I decided I want to take control again and become a coach. One, to hold me accountable more, and to help people achieve what I have achieved by using this meal plan and all of that. And what I love so much is the community that these groups give me, and the accountability and just meeting new people. So I'm really excited to do this video to talk a little bit more about meal planning. I have, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 people from my groups that are in this group, and we just kind of decided to join forces for the holidays and extra accountability for each other. So that is why I am in this group. Hi, Tammy. So yeah, like I said, I don't know everyone personally in this group, but I'm so excited to do these next 30 days with you guys, and to press forward and to start before the new year. So many people get to the new year and think, oh, that's when I'm going to try to lose weight. That's when I'm going to tone up. That's when I'm going to make all these goals. It's like, why not start early? Why not get a jump start? So that's what you guys are doing, and I'm so excited for everybody. Hi, Jessica. I was just trying to wait a little bit for anyone to hop on. Telling a little bit about myself. I met Jessica through the coaching opportunity. I actually haven't met you in person yet, now that I think about it, but we talk like every single day, and I love her. She's so sweet, she's so fun, and I love that she's leading this group, and that she gave me a chance to talk to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and for those of you who just hopped on, I'm going to be talking about meal planning. So meal planning can be kind of a stressful thing if you let it be stressful, and if it's your first time, it can be overwhelming, but just know that each time you do it, you'll get better at it, and it'll get easier, and you'll know what foods you and your family like. You know, Jessica talked about how she kind of modifies her meal and her husband and son's meal. Well, it's just me and my husband, because my son is too young to eat any of this, but I just make meals that I know he likes. For instance, like a burrito bowl, but I just add all the clean ingredients. So that's what I do. I don't usually make something different for him because I don't have that patience, and he's not that picky. So you have to do what works best for your family. And so that's what I've learned. So the first thing that you need to do before you even break out a calendar and set up everything is to find how many containers you're going to get. Oh, she says maybe just my phone, but I can't hear. Jessica, can you hear me? Well, I hope you guys can hear me. I hope it's not just... make sure your settings on your phone allow you to hear the Facebook videos. Ooh, I don't know. Unless someone says... Okay, Jessica says she can hear. Go out and come back in, Tammy. Or is your phone set? Okay, so the first thing you need to do is... in your little booklet that you get, and this is the 21-day fix, but pretty much all of the booklets have the same concepts in them. So whether you're doing country heat, core de force, 22-minute, or whatever you're doing, they all have the same concepts in here. Hi Aunt Nikki. My aunt is in here, and my mom, so all my family. Okay, you're gonna find this page. It may look similar to this, but it tells you how to get started and how to find that calculation to see how many containers you need. So the first thing you're going to do is that calculation. You take your weight you multiply it by 11, then you add 400, and then you subtract 750. And I know that sounds complicated, but it's just like 2 steps on your calculator on your phone. And then you have your calorie target. But remember, we're not counting calories, we're counting containers. So then you take your calorie target and you go to the page that looks like this. And it has like a little chart. And at the top, it has different calorie ranges. So 1,200 to 14.99, 1,500 to 17.99, and so forth. And then on the side, it has how many containers. So for instance, your green container, if you're in the first bracket, green containers, you get 3. Purple containers, you get 2. Red containers, you get 4. Yellow containers, you get 2. Blue containers, you get 1. Orange, 1, and so forth. And so that's how you figure out how many containers you get. Once you figure that out, then you're ready to start writing down your meal plans and writing what you're going to eat each day. And you may think, why is meal planning important? Why is it important that I know what I'm going to eat next week? Because when you don't plan it out, then you're not going to have the groceries, for one. And you're not going to know what to get at the grocery store. And for, in my experience, when I don't write out a plan, then it's so much easier to just snack on whatever is available, to say, oh, I don't have what I need for this recipe, so I'm just going to like go, I don't know, to Taco Bell. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you need to have some sort of plan that you can follow throughout the week. And, that's why I usually use, yes, you make bad choices when you're not prepared. So, okay, so I end up using a calendar that looks like this. And I know it may look kind of complicated, but it actually lays it out really nicely. There are tons of different calendars that you may like better. If you just go on Pinterest and type in like 21-day fix planner or something like that, then you can find one that works for you. I just really like this one, and I'll post the link to this one in the comments or on a different post. But this one lays it out really well for when I'm planning. So at the top, this one is for the lowest meal plan. At the top, if you can see, it has Monday, and then it has all your containers. So 3 green, 2 purple, 4 red, etc. And as I'm writing my meal plan down, so like whenever I write what I'm having for breakfast, then I can just cross off, I'm having eggs, so that's a red container. I'm having a piece of toast, so that's a yellow container. And I just cross it off, that way I know how many I have left for the rest of the day as I'm writing it out. So I hope that makes sense. But my first suggestion would just be to find a calendar that's visually appealing and that makes sense to you. It could just be the back or a piece of white paper that you make your own little, I don't know, chart out of. It could literally be that. I've seen that be done. I've done it. You can do it on the computer in Excel. You can get as fancy or as simple with it as you want. Yes, I will post the link to where I got this planner. What's cool about the link that I'll post is that it has all the different plans. So like it has the lowest calorie plan up to the highest calorie plan, and you can print out the calendar or chart that is for your plan. And what's also cool is that it comes with a little piece of paper like this. That's your grocery list. And if you're like a color-coded kind of freak like me, then you can just write down, okay, these are all my greens that are in my grocery list. These are all my my fruits, my purples that are in my grocery list. I feel like I need to back up. I don't know how much you guys know about the booklet that you're gonna get if you don't already have it, but if you flip through these pages, it tells you what fits into all of the different containers. I know we have some newbies in here that have never done anything like this before, and so when you flip through your book it tells you what fits into each container. At the top of your list, you're gonna find the more nutrient packed foods. So they're probably like the better choices, but you can have any of these choices. So for instance, kale is one of like the most nutritious vegetables, green containers that you can have. String beans, peppers. Okay, so it just tells you everything that qualifies to fit into that container. So, I guess I forgot to go over that. Okay, your blues can get, that's where you have to be really like cautious, I guess is the right word, or careful, on how you want to use your blues, because your blues is your healthy fats, so like your cheese, your almonds, cashews, a lot of different nuts are in there, coconut, canned coconut milk. I don't know, I never use that, but a lot of people use it for their cheese. And no matter what meal plan you're on, whether you're on the highest or the lowest meal plan, you only get one healthy fat per day. And so that's why sometimes whenever you're planning it out, you want to be like, okay, I want to use my cheese for this meal. But I know some people like to use almonds, and so it's whatever you want to use. You can use half of your cheese for one meal, half of your blue container, and then half of it for another meal, but you can only have one total blue container. And same for any of the other containers. You can split up containers, but just know that you can only have that certain amount. And then orange containers. I know you'll get 2 orange containers in your package, but you only get 1. No matter what meal plan you're on, you get 1, and that's your seeds and dressings. Yes, I do too sometimes. Okay, and then your teaspoons are like your nut butters and your oils. So like olive oil or coconut oil or anything like that is what's going to go into your teaspoons. So I just wanted to go over that. So once you have your any type of whatever kind of calendar you're using, my first thing that I do is I pick my favorite meal. And for me, my favorite meal is dinner. Well, probably breakfast, but since my husband and I share dinner together, we have the same dinner. I like to plan dinner first, because that way I know after dinner how many more containers I'm gonna have. So pick your favorite meal. You may really like lunch, and you really want like the best lunch ever every week, and so you might want to start with lunch. You might want to start with your snacks. You might want to start with breakfast. And so it just depends on what meal you want to start with, but I always try to start with my favorite. So we start with dinner, and I write in, a lot of times on Fridays we have tortilla pizza. So I'm just going to write tortilla pizza down here. And with your meal plans, you have to be specific. So I wrote tortilla pizza, but what's going to go on my pizza? So of course, I'm going to have a whole grain tortilla. And what does that count for? Anybody guess? Yellow, because it's a grain. So I cross off grain, one of my yellows. And then like, what is it? Pizza sauce would probably be half of a purple, since it's tomato based. And you can throw some spinach on there. Some meat. So I sometimes use turkey pepperoni, and what else? Ground turkey sometimes. So whatever you want to add to it. And then I cross out all of those. Oh, and then cheese. You have to have cheese on pizza, right? Ground turkey and some greens. So then I cross out all of my containers that I used. And then I know for the rest of my meals, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, whatever, I have this many containers left. I have 2 greens that I need to fit in. I have 1 yellow, I have 3 reds, an orange, and 2 teaspoons. So I still have to use all of those throughout the rest of the day. So then I typically go on to breakfast, and I always do lunch last, just because a lot of times with my crazy schedule, I don't even, lunch is just kind of like, I don't know, not as important to me. I always make sure I use my containers throughout the day, but lunch is just kind of whatever I can easily prep. Honestly, that's what lunch usually is. And Jessica says, I always try and make lunch be my cleanest meal of the day. I am the most strict on, because I know meeting up with others come supper, I will usually have a yellow. Yeah, so I always make my lunch pretty clean too. Like, I always make sure that I have a vegetable, or even sometimes 2 vegetables, and a protein. And I try to save, if I'm having cheese, then I'll save it for dinner. That's just me. But you guys do what works best for you. Let's see. So that's kind of my process on how I start writing my meal plan. I always start with dinners for the whole week, and then I go on to breakfast. And with breakfast, I keep it simple by either alternating days of the same 2 meals, or just the same thing throughout the whole week, because I'm pretty boring and I like just eggs and toast, or overnight oats or something like that. But if you like fancy breakfasts, then by all means do that. I just like to have something that's really easy in the morning, since I don't always have a lot of time. Okay, let's see. So I said start with your favorite meal and work backwards. Plan the details. So for instance, like I wrote tortilla pizza, but then I wrote exactly what I'm having on my tortilla pizza. That way, when it gets to that day, I don't know, mess with my containers. Like, I know what I'm having on it, and I know what to put in my grocery list. Another thing with snacks, a lot of people make this mistake, and I'm guilty of it too, but with snacks, or with really any meal, make sure that you're pairing, anytime you have a carb or a fruit, that you're pairing it with some sort of protein, or even like or like a nut or something like that, because carbs and fruits obviously have a lot more sugar, and you want to balance it out and make sure that you're not going to get hungry, that it'll keep you full. So that's another tip. It's preferred, it's not like mandatory, because I know I don't always do it, but preferred to eat your fruits and your carbs earlier on in the day. So don't wait till like 8 o'clock to have 3 carbs or 3 yellow containers, because those containers, you know, fruits and carbs, those take longer to break down. And you want to be eating them earlier to give you more energy throughout the day, and to burn them throughout the day, throughout your workout and everything like that. So you don't want to just like carb load at the end of the day because you didn't have your containers. And I'll be honest, carbs are never a problem for me. Those are like the first things that I usually eat and take care of, and then wish that I had at least one more at dinner or whatever. But just make sure that you don't, like, I guess, carb load or sugar load before you go to bed on, even if it's healthy. You want to keep it, spread your nutrients throughout the day. So that would be a tip for that. One last thing that I had for you guys, unless Jessica can think of anything else, is to talk about substitutions for alcohol or sweets. And you may, I personally don't drink much alcohol, wine, or any of that, just because I don't know, it just kind of messes with me, makes me feel bloated. But I know that I've been in groups before where some of them really like their glass of wine on a Wednesday night or whatever, Wine Wednesday. So I understand that, and that's actually, it has a section in the book that talks about that, and I don't know where that section is because I don't really go to it, but let's see here. I know it talks about it. Jessica might be able to help me, but I think that it says traits in addition to, okay, so it says, in addition to your tasty beverages 3 times a week, you can replace a yellow container with a treat. So it says you won't necessarily use the yellow container for your treat, so that doesn't mean you'll necessarily measure it out with the yellow container. It says it could get pretty ugly if you eat an entire yellow container of chocolate chips. Instead, use the container matching the color of the square next to the treat of your choice. So then it has different treats that you can use, and it has different recipes in the back. So for instance, I know it even has like what are those, no-bake chocolate cookies. It has a cleaner recipe for that, and it tells you how many of those you can use to replace a yellow container. So that means that if you get 3 yellow containers in a day, one of those yellow containers is going to be your treat. But you can only do that 3 times a week. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, a glass of wine, I think that a glass of wine is a yellow container as well. So obviously you can have alcohol, you can have wine on the meal plan, but not every single night, and not like 5 glasses of wine or a bottle of wine or whatever. So yeah, I don't know where it says it, but I know it does say it somewhere. And yeah, so, and then also there's another section that talks about different like fruity drinks. It has strawberry mojito and how to make that. I guess it's like, oh, that's a Shakeology recipe. But there are different, if you type it in, if there are different like recipes that you can use for clean alcoholic drinks that fit into the meal plan. Okay, I'm going to read what Jessica says. She says, I have to have my sweet tooth fix every now and then. I make chocolate Shakeology balls or the chocolate fudge and keep them in the fridge so I can have them ready to go grab and go. This helps keep me from giving into regular cookies or brownies. Same here. I always make the vanilla Shakeology cookie dough bites. So it like has vanilla Shakeology, honey, peanut butter, oats, and chocolate chips. And I think 2 of those count for 1 yellow container. So a couple times a week, I'll have something like that, count it for a yellow container, and I can still have my little sweet tooth fix. And they're really, actually, I really like them. My mom was here, actually she just left yesterday, and she ran out of her chocolate Shakeology, but she had a vanilla packet, and so I was like, let me trade you. I'll take your vanilla packet and you can have some of my chocolate. So I'm going to make some vanilla Shakeology cookie dough balls. Jessica says, Fit and Funky's recipe for her Shakeology balls do not end up taking away one of your yellows. Woot woot. I'll post a link. Okay, so she posted a link to those. So yeah, okay, and one last thing, as far as your Shakeology goes, don't feel like you need to make it boring. You can make it as fun as you want. So sometimes I always use almond milk with mine because it's just, I like the way it makes it creamy. But I know I have one of my best friends only drinks it with water and ice. And that's fine, but I like to make mine fun. And so I always use almond milk and some sort of extract. And guess what? Extracts are free. And so I'll use some almond milk and some like peppermint extract or vanilla extract or something like that, just to spice it up a little. And you can add fruit to it. But remember, anything that you put into your Shakeology recipe counts as a container. So your Shakeology counts as your protein, so it counts as one of your red containers. And your and like if you use milk or almond milk, that counts as some of a yellow container. So for instance, if you use 8 ounces of unsweetened almond milk, that counts for half of a yellow container, which is what I do. So I count it for half of a yellow container. Let's see. Fruit, if depending on how much fruit you use, if you use a full container, purple container of fruit, that would count as your, one of your fruits for the day, one of your purple containers. So whatever you put into it, remember that you have to count those as containers as well. Which, if you blend up spinach in it really well, you can't even taste the spinach, and that takes care of one of your green containers. So Tammy says, page 38 in 21 Day Fix Book shows 4 ounces of wine equals a yellow. So there we go. 4 ounces of wine equals a yellow. So if you're really like, I need a wine fix, then you can have 4 ounces and make sure to count it as one of your yellows. And remember that we are making healthier lifestyle choices. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had one more thing to say, but I can't remember what it was. Does anybody have any questions, or Jessica, is there anything else that I should talk about? I'm gonna go to page 38. Okay, yeah, so on page 38, it talks about the breakdown of some of the drinks. So for instance, it talks about the milk, how I said 8 ounces of either unsweetened coconut or almond milk counts for half of a yellow. If you use regular milk, that ends up like, non-fat or 1%, that counts as 1 yellow. So that's why I choose to use a lighter calorie, healthier option is almond milk. Coconut milk is really good with it too. Let's see. Okay, Jay. Sorry, my child is awake and my husband needs to go get him. On page 37, there's a free foods list. So, water bar, to spice up your water, make sure you're getting enough water every day. It should be half of your weight in ounces. So, for instance, if you weigh 140, then you need to drink 70 ounces of water. And I said 140 because that's the easiest number to divide by 2. But whatever your weight is, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should be drinking each day. And to spice up your water, add fruit, or like infuse it with, I think y'all talked about this. Someone posted something about that. So infuse it with like fruit or cucumber or mint or whatever. And that's free. Let's see, and there's recipes for that in there. Vinegars are free. Mustard is free, so I don't use ketchup, but I'll like put on some chicken or a turkey burger, and I'll just put mustard on it. That's free. Spices are free. Garlic is free. Ginger hot sauce is free, and like I said before, the flavor extracts like peppermint, vanilla, almond, butter, whatever, anything like that, all those extracts are free. Oh yes, the chocolate shake balls are yummy. Okay, so people always ask what time of day to have their Shakeology. Okay, that is really up to you. Going back through the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's really up to you. I like to have it after my workout, personally. I feel like it just kind of re-energizes me, and I just feel like it's a good post-workout fuel. But my workout kind of varies depending on my child's schedule. So if you want it to be something more consistent, my mom drinks it for breakfast every single morning without fail. Same with my sister. And I know a lot of people are that way. They just want to have it as their breakfast or their mid-morning snack or whatever. Some people will replace their meals with it. So, for instance, like I said, some people use it for breakfast. If you're on the go during lunch and you have no time for anything else, it's a good lunch option. There have been times where I've had it for dinner too, when like I get to the end of the day, I haven't had it yet, just because the day has been literally crazy and there's nothing else to really eat. My husband's eating something else or whatever. Those days are very few, but there have been times where I have had it for dinner as well. So I would just say, unless Jessica has another thought on that you just do what works best for you. as far as Shakeology goes, but make sure you're drinking it every single day, because I don't know how much you guys all know about Shakeology, but it has so many superfoods and probiotics and your prebiotics and so much nutrients that your body needs to create that energy and so many different things. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. I feel like I saw one more question. Did anyone else have a question? Oh, what about popcorn? So, is popcorn in here? I feel like I had seen. Here's what I would say about popcorn. If I'm gonna eat popcorn, it's gonna be like the skinny pop. Jessica, you can correct me if I'm like totally, if you don't agree with me here, but this is what I would say about popcorn, is that I would use something like the skinny pop, and I wouldn't do it regularly, just because whenever I have popcorn, I know that I could eat it, and it doesn't fill me up. But if you were going to use it, then I would just do like one small little bag of skinny pop and count it for a yellow. That's just what I would say. I would not get any of that buttered extra yuckiness. It's good, but not good for you. Stuff at the movie theater, that stuff isn't good. But if you're gonna if you like really like popcorn, then I would just maybe have it once or twice a week, probably not anymore. And just know that that's probably not going to be like the heartiest or the most nutritious way to get one of your yellows in. Yeah, she says, so Jessica says, sometimes when she gets home really late, she doesn't want to cook. Yeah, so those have been the few times that I've had Shakeology for dinner, is like whenever we get home really late for some reason. Yep. Plain popcorn, pop your own. For butter, use melted coconut oil and sea salt. See, I've never done that, but that sounds really good. I don't really eat a ton of popcorn, so yeah. Cook it in coconut oil. I love cooking things in coconut oil. It's so yummy. Adds more flavor. All right. Well, if there are not any more questions, then I'm going to kind of wrap it up by just going over my few points that I went over. So the first thing is to plan your week ahead. So I like to plan on Fridays, and that way I can grocery shop Saturday or Sunday sometimes, and then meal prep on Sunday. That way I'm prepared for the whole entire week. So I know that's it may sound like, oh, I don't need to plan on Friday, but you do. You need to plan early. That way you're prepared, because you don't want to meal plan, grocery shop, and prep all in the same day. That will literally take all day, and you'll be miserable, and just don't do that to yourself. Plan ahead. So try to plan today. Don't make it overwhelming. Use foods for your first week, especially if you've never done this before. Use foods you know you like. If you love eggs, use eggs for your breakfast, or make egg muffins for your breakfast. Do stuff that you know you like. Try to do only 1 or 2 new meals that you've never tried per week. That way it doesn't seem like you're making something new that you've never made before every single day, and that gets stressful. So just do 1 or 2 new meals, like Jessica said, I know, in her early video. Get some sort of planning sheet. So I use this one, and I'll post the link for it in it after I'm done with this video. Some sort of planning sheet. There's multiple different planning sheets. Start with your favorite meal and work backwards. So mark off your containers as you go. Plan the details. Make sure you're detailed, because when you're not detailed, then you sometimes just end up using more, like for instance in your Shakeology, then you'll be like, oh, I didn't count the fruit that I put in my Shakeology. So you got to plan that out. Pair fruits and carbs and/or carbs with either a protein preferably, or anything like nuts. almonds or seeds or anything like that. And remember that you can have substitutions for alcohol or sweets, but to keep it to 3 times a week or less. And that this is a lifestyle, so enjoy yourself. Don't feel like you have to have chicken and broccoli for every single meal, but make it fun, but make it simple. Okay, if there are no more questions, I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you guys were able to get some tips from this, and I guess this is good timing because my child is crying. So have a good day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.